Hello, everybody. Hey, I don't know if you saw earlier today, Dylan Harper. Congrats. Rutgers' first triple-double since 1983. Just happens to be the year that I was born, if you're counting. But you know who else gets a triple-double in those DFS streets every single day? It feels like it's my guy, Mike. He's joining me right now to break down this Tuesday slate. A quick turnaround, but we're going to bring it to you, and we're glad you're here. Let's get to it. Recording live from somewhere. This is One and Done.
Get out the insurance cards, get out the co-pays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by
It's
drroto.com.
time once again for everybody to come aboard that Green Screens Media train. Welcome to One and Done. Bienvenidos a todos a One and Done, your fast break of college basketball information. We are powered by the multiverse's greatest website. It's drroto.com. I'm your sometimes humble host. My name is Jay Heinrich. Happen to be the conductor of the aforementioned Green Screens Media train. Find me on X at Dr. William Kennan. I'm known to hit that follow back button, but I know you're not here for me. You hear from my guy right there, El Capitan himself, the captain of the Green Screens Media ship. He does the ship, I do the train. We'll get to the rest later. Follow that man on X at MCHolland34. He is the OG of OGest of Money Mikes. That's Mr. Mike Holland. Mike, what it do?
Man, it's early. What are we doing on this early? What are we doing on this early? I'm doing good, man, and feeling pretty good after last night's effort in the old Sunday Big Jam, which has been pretty good to me. I would say the early part of the season, but hell, we're the conference play right now, my friend. So yeah, I was able to take down second, $200. Couldn't hold off the final minute of the Campbell UNC game, so unfortunately dropped to second place, but we'll still take it. A profit's a profit. Tonight, I think I'm getting buried by a 20% Dylan Cardwell smash at max price. So unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be as plentiful, but I'm excited about the slate that we have tomorrow. Wish the prize pool was a little bit better, but hey, man, it's another slate, another day, and it's almost a new year, so let's get it going.
A New Year's Eve slate indeed. We're breaking it all down for you right here on One and Done. Make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss one single solitary minute of our coverage in these DFS streets. You want to be here with us, you want to ride with us, I'm telling you, man. We see the green screens. Our guys Cam, Jeremy, OG's in the chat that I'm sure we'll see pop up later on. Do they even know that? Hey, there he is, Forklift Jeremy, right there, right on cue in the chat. What's up? Yeah, we're feeling
the last
better.
show.
Yeah. Don't know if you hung out with us on the last show. I came in under the weather, and somehow I passed it all through the airwaves and over the YouTube verse to Mike, and he was feeling that coughing up a lung by the end of it. We're gonna get through it today, no worries. But Jeremy, thanks for asking, and thanks for hanging out with us as always. Jeremy is one of our OGs in the chat, and he's going to be familiar with the style of the format of the show today. So let's get to it. 10-game New Year's Eve slate with 1K to first contest. Not too bad. We'll take any day that we can win a comma. We're chasing those commas here on One and Done, and we might get to see one tomorrow, 1K to first on this 10-game slate, tipping at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hinted at the old school format today that Cam and some of those guys that have been around for such a long time will recognize, or day ones, if you will. So what we're going to do is we're not going to hit every single game like we do on some of our other shows, right? What we're going to do is we're going to feature 3 games tonight, showcase them, if you will, a 3-game showcase, and then hit you with high-tier plays, mid-tier plays, and low-tier plays, guys that are in our player pools that we're going to be clicking on to try to get this bread. So hop in the live chat. Let us know how you're feeling tonight. Mike, a 10-gamer here on a New Year's Eve. Always gets crazy around the holidays. You know, we're all feeling it. We're all chasing a little bit of extra cash around this time.
Man, why not?
How are you approaching this slate? Give us your overview.
Yeah, just a quick overview. Spend ups for days. There's a lot of studs on this slate. And this is more of a first look, which is why we're kind of going the old school route with 3 showcase games and then some tiers. He's going to be which 2 or 3 studs to play. Stars and scrubs are going to be super popular because there is value to be had here. Balance builds are going to be super contrarian. The pricing is just really tough, and that's what we've seen over the past few slates. And as we get into conference play, we're going to be scraping the barrel for value unless there's injuries. But we've got some here because of injuries. So yeah, man, there's a lot of ways to attack this slate, but we're going to be looking for the couple of stars that are going to get it done for us.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Right on cue, Corey, one of our OGs in the live chat. Not the Tears making a comeback. Oh, yes, Corey. Indeed, the Tears are making the comeback today. Love to see you in there. And yeah, the old, where is it? Right over here. The old street sign with the name on it that was procured from the old hometown. That may or may not have been Corey's idea. Maybe so, maybe no. The king of the single entry hopping in the live chat. We always love to see it. All right, let's get to the showcase now. Make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons as we do that. On our way to what's our goal? 11 zillion fulfillion.
We're not going to hit that before the new year, but we got close.
No, let's get to 1270 or something like that.
We're at 1270. We're at 1270. So 1275. Why
so we
not?
got that already. Good job, everybody. Yeah. We made our goal, 1270. No, let's get to 1275 or something. Hit that button if you haven't. If you're watching now, do it. If you're watching later, if you're watching live or later, hit that button. All right, showcase time. Let's get to it. 3-game showcase. The first game that we're going to break down intensively will be St. John's traveling to Creighton. The old Blue Jays trying to defend the nest, if you will. 154 implied points according to KenPom. The metrics that we talk about, if you're new to the show, the metrics that we break down here, we refer are mostly KenPom's projections and metrics. So St. John's 78. Oh, 7 guys, Mike, in this game, 8K and above. Okay, we talked about the stars and scrubs approach. This is an expensive game, but with this sort of a total, we understand why. 78 projected points for St. John's here. Both of these teams get up and down, Mike. That's why this total is projected to be so high. St. John's should get a bunch of clean looks because Creighton is horrible, 360th in opponent turnover percentage. I guess let's just start with Zuby Ejiofor right at the top, 9.8K. Mike, big man battle between Ejiofor and Kalkbrenner here. Three-time Big East Defensive Player of the Year, kind of a big deal. But we know Zuby's been great this year, awesome, fantastic. But again, it's Kalkbrenner, right? It's tough for me to pay 9.8 against Kalkbrenner in this matchup. But you talked about a 20% person today that got it done, that somebody if you paid up and you got the max out of it. Ejiofor might be that guy if you want to get contrarian and spend up for him. It's going to be tough for me though to get to him because of the matchup.
Yeah, I don't think I'll get there just because there are so many spend up options, and man, a third of them are in this game. You talk about RJ Lewis here. Boom bust GPP option at 9,300 to your $7,500. You can play him at either spot here. He can absolutely nuke the slate, or he can absolutely bury your lineup, which is what I love for tournaments. So 3 times this year, he's reached back and gone for 45 plus. Now he hasn't done it in the month of December. He hasn't really been over 33 fantasy points in 5 straight. But I'll probably get up to 10 lineups tomorrow or so, maybe 20. I'll probably stick him in 1 or 2. If I go to 20, maybe 2. Just a guy that we know that can go for 45. And when he does it, it seems like he eats away at everybody else's production. So RJ Lewis definitely in the spend up player pool. Davon Smith at 9K. It's clear that Patino and Kadari Richmond are maybe not seeing eye to eye. And it was pretty clear that Davon Smith and Patino are seeing eye to eye. He's coming off 59 fantasy points against Delaware. Richmond was taken off the floor the other day against Providence to let Smith essentially run the offense. And, he's just a triple-double guy waiting to happen, especially in this type of matchup. He's one of the safest spend-ups. He also has one of the highest upsides like RJ Lewis does. So it wouldn't shock me if Smith or Lewis got over 40 fantasy points. It just depends on which one. Of the two, I don't mind taking a crack at Davon Smith. Probably 2 times more than I would RJ Lewis. So you don't have to go here because it's not you're going to be passing up a bunch of great spend up options that we'll talk about here in a little bit. Kadari Richmond's pretty interesting, Jay, at 8,200. Like I don't know what's going on here. He hasn't played more than 30 minutes in December, so that's pretty annoying. We know his upside is massive in this type of environment. If he's not going to be owned, it's super risky. Even at 28 minutes, he could go for 40, and that's 5x at 8,200. So, man, as a contrarian spend up like Zuby Ejiofor, I mean, you're saving $1,600 off Ejiofor to go to a Richmond that we know can absolutely smash, but you wouldn't be surprised if he's plays 21 minutes in this one. The benefactor of kind of the Richmond minutes getting cut is Simeon Wilcher. He's 6,200. Super shot dependent though. Shown a little bit of peripheral upside lately as Wilcher, but for tourneys he's still about $500 to $800 overpriced. So for Wilcher, I'm probably going to pass on that. It feels almost like $1,000 overpriced here. So, man, this is a tough spot because you can't play multiple guys from this game. I mean, I guess you could play two spin ups on this side, maybe one. So you got value on the other side.
Yeah.
But it's tough, man. So just probably picking one of the studs on this side is probably where I'm going to go here.
Do you ever look back fondly when you could get Wilcher for under 5K? You ever think about those days? You ever reminisce?
For sure.
Snake's Eyes hopping in saying there's so many mouths to feed, and he's right. Like there's just a ton of people that just
their ownership's going to be low because of all the spin ups, and they eat away at each other. So you're going to get these guys you're going to get these spin up guys at 10%. Yeah. You hit the right one.
Yeah. So. And that's probably if you're gonna hit on anybody in this game, you're gonna want to get one of the guys that we've already discussed. And it's not very often that you get to the fourth guy on a team in terms of pricing in Richmond, and he's still above 8K. It's tough. Pick one. If you're trying to find value here, Ruben Prey, 3,300. He started last game, only played like 11 minutes though. So, I mean, if you're really digging and you, I don't know, if you just fallen in love with this game and you love this total and you think he's somebody that, look for the starting lineups, but something to keep an eye on moving forward. Maybe bookmark that guy for sure. Comments are rolling in the live chat. Playmaker hopping in with us. The old Playmaker 23 workbench.
Belly ball.
Glad you're able to hop in with us tonight while we're live. Playmaker 23, and then belly ball early one. That's right, my guy. We are in here early in these YouTube streets over here at Green Screens Media. Green Screens Media is what you search when you go over to YouTube to find us, okay? So if you're hanging out with us on X, I know a lot of you do, and that's great. We love you. Can take us in however you want. Be a baller, be a broski, a broskette. Go over to YouTube and hit that subscribe button for us. Follow us over there. We appreciate that. Hey, let's get to the Creighton side here as the live chat keeps rolling. Y'all keep it humming. We love to hear it. Creighton 76 implied points here. Pace up on this side for the Blue Jays. And again, like we said, both teams go. Both teams above 120th in pace. St. John's has been very good defensively, though. Creighton is 207th in bench minutes, which is okay. But since Pop Isaac's injury, Mike, we've seen that just suck down a little bit. Basically, 6 or 7 guys with big minutes are humming out there. Jemiah Neal's one of them. 9,100 is the price tag, which is kind of absurd. It's really absurd.
Very much.
But he's going to play like every minute. Like he's going to play almost every minute, and he contributes across the board too. So again, another guy probably going to be around 12
sub-10.
It'll
be like 4 or 5.
You don't think it'll even be that high? So again, like if
too many
you want to get super different, contrarian large field tourney option there, and then Kalkbrenner, I mentioned him earlier for his defense, but have you found or have you seen them find a way to utilize him to maximize him in these tough matchups, Mike?
They don't know how to get him the ball. It's crazy.
I don't understand it, and I'm not comfortable paying $9K flat for Kalkbrenner. Again, if you want to spend up for him in a cash game,
he's gonna be out there for 35 minutes.
That's if he's one of your spend ups there. Okay, I don't think I can run him out there in a tournament though, Mike.
Yeah, it's pretty tough to pay that. Like you're trying to win a tournament, you're gonna need You're going to need five. Some of these studs are going to go for 5X. So Kalkbrenner, if he's going to live in the mid-20s, low 30s, I mean, that's just not going to get it done at that price tag. Same with Ashworth. He's 8,900. Really struggled against these guys last year, but a little bit different role this year. He's going to play all 40 minutes. He's going to take a bunch of shots. So I just worry that maybe they try to stick Adari Richmond on him, just completely neutralize him. So probably a pass for me. Much more interested in the two cheapies, and this is where it gets interesting in this spot. We talked about how expensive everyone is. Well, there's a bunch of minutes open for two guys that are really cheap. One's Jackson McAndrew. He's a forward. He's 4,400. The talented five-star freshman. We've talked about him a few times. 3 straight games over 20-plus fantasy points, even though he hasn't played more than 24 minutes in each of the last 3. So he can really score the ball. He can grab rebounds. He's about 6'9". I'm not sure why he's not playing 30-plus minutes. I don't get it. I mean, he put up 33.5 in that slate where we had San Diego State, where he played 33 minutes in the Players Era Tour tournament. So doesn't make a lot of sense, but I like him for tournaments because I think if he does, McDermott realizes needs to play this kid 30 minutes, he's going to put up 28, 30 fantasy points. So great play in both formats for me. Jason Green, more of a cash play. So unlike McAndrew, like McDermott's kind of taking the training wheels off of Green, who flashed a little bit last year, especially in the tournament. Played 35 minutes against Villanova. Only produced 20.5 fantasy points. We know Villanova's, kind of annoying to play. So he's not as big of a per minute producer as McAndrew, but 35 minutes at this price point in this environment is pretty hard to pass on. So I like him in both cash and tourneys as well. I could play either one of these guys. I'm probably going to mix and match. I can play both. Yeah, I can play both. I don't necessarily think I have to run it back. I mean, there are good spend-up options to run it back with, but I think it's also interesting to play both of these guys and just kind of leave it alone and play the other spend-ups. And we're going to talk about there's just so many spend-ups on the slate. So just pick your 2 spend-ups and play these 2 guys, and you'll be back to the 6K kind of per player range.
Right back to where you want to be. Good stuff there, Mike. Absolutely fantastic. Closes out that first game in the 3-game showcase while we're transitioning here. Do your part in the Green Screens Media universe. Hit those like and subscribe buttons. Hop in the live chat. Let us know you're hanging out with us, like Snake's Eyes, Bellyball, Playmaker 23, Workbench, Corey, Jeremy, Forklift Jeremy, that is, hopping in with us. Let us know you're hanging out. Let us know if you're watching later. Hop in the comments. We always appreciate that. We try to get back and reply to all of those, and I'll let you guys know we appreciate you for shouting us out. We always appreciate everybody for doing that. Game number 2 here in the showcase, Arizona State. Oh, let's get Chris Napier on the phone here. Our guy Napesy Hustle.
The resident
behind the scenes for us. Or is he
insider Arizona State? Yeah.
A concert tonight or something? What did he say? What's it called? Goose. He's going to see a band called Goose. What girl's dragging him to that? Anyways. Napesy Hustle at the Real Napier. Don't forget about our guy at Fantasy Nav either, pushing the buttons. Our guy Eric the Blue. Those graphics that you see up there popping up, that's our guy. Shout out Eric at Fantasy Nav. He's got another show he's getting to later on tonight. He's producing here. He's going to go have that pretty mug on somewhere else later on. I mean, a man of many talents, and we're happy that he's here hanging out with us too. Arizona State at BYU, 150 points implied here on the total. Let's start off with the Sun Devil side. Get your forks up or however they do it. Solid pace to this one, Mike. Both teams get up and down just fine. BYU gives up 35% from 3, so Arizona State's going to get a little bit of that bump there on their 3-point percentage. And I think this might get a little bit of a smile out of you, Mike. 303rd in bench minutes. Yes. Oh, we got not
hands
even
up,
better,
Drake.
better,
You got the
better
Drake.
than the thumbs up. Okay, there we go. Drake. Makes more sense. The cover boy, Jaden Quaintance. 9,200 to get him on your roster in that forward spot, but it's a tough price. It's a tough price with this total. So it's not just the price though. BYU has some bigs that are going to bang around and make it hard for them. Like it is what it is, right? What you do like is the big time rebounding and shot blocking upside here. We love to talk about rates, and we say don't get hung up on them all the time. But 17.5 shot, like on the road at this price, Mike. He made the cover. I don't think he's going to make our team.
No, man, that's tough to pay that price. Another contrarian guy that'll be 2-3%. So if you want to take a shot, by all means. I mean, Bashir Jihad is 8,400, so not much of a discount to his counterpart there in the front court. He leads the team in usage. This price tag is going to keep people off of him because he got this major bump after crushing UMass. I think all these guys are going to be interesting in tournament formats because you just never know who's going to go for 5X. But I'm more interested in the next guy, which is BJ Freeman. So he's got the guard forward tag here. He's 6K. I think he's a really good cash play, double up play. He leads the team in shot and assist rate. He's going to give you 20 to 30 fantasy points depending on how he shoots it. The position flexibility is really nice for your lineups and cash and double ups. So I think BJ Freeman, I don't know if I'm going to use him for a tournament setting, but I definitely like him as a cash play here. The other guards that start, Alston Mason, Adam Miller, these guys aren't really in play, dude, with this tough road environment. Mason's coming off the big game, mostly an all cardio guy. And then Miller, he just doesn't get enough minutes to pay off the price tag. So for me, man, I mean, really on this side, 72 implied total, I think BJ Freeman is probably the guy I want to use in cash. And you can look at, you can look at Quaintance, you can look at Bashir in tournament settings. I mean, clearly, they have massive upside. I don't know that I want to attack BYU on the road here at a tough place to play at the Marriott Center. So more interested in some of the plays on the other side there, Jay.
Yeah, it's always tough to play in Provo. And BYU's got the bodies to make it tough on Arizona State's best players. BYU's going to get a stock boost in this one, but unfortunately, just on the flip side, I got this earlier from you. I'm afraid what hand signal you're gonna give me to the camera now, because BYU is 8th in bench minutes. Sorry. Okay. Anyways, that stinks. But that's not going to stop me from hanging out at 7K flat. No need to worry. My accountant handles that for Igor Demon, one of the best tourney plays on the board. Returning from injury, so we're not going to use him in cash yet, but he basically averages a fantasy point per minute. Price is way down. If this is the Rocket.
He's so good.
If this is the Rocket,
so
I'm
good.
strapping him to it, and
yeah.
We're going. I'm all over Demon on this slate, Mike.
Yeah, man, I'm with you on that. In tournaments, it's going to be hard not to play this guy. I would expect him to come back, play 30 minutes in this one. I mean, when conference play comes, we start to see the minutes condensed. For some of these teams that play a lot of players, though, we don't really see it until we get into conference play, so that's going to be a shocker. So if BYU can condense the rotation just a little bit, that's going to make a huge difference. I think Demon is a fantastic play. Dallin Hall, he's 5,400. I don't really want to click the other names on this side, except for maybe Hall and maybe a Dawson Baker. But for Hall, he's probably the safest option of all the other guys. I mean, this total is almost 80 points. So, if they go over, some guys are going to hit. Hall, though, he's going to be on the floor. That's the thing that you like, right? All these guys usually play 20 to 25 minutes. Hall's going to be out there for 26 plus, can reach into the 30, 6 straight 26 plus. I mean, only an 18% usage rate, but he has a 26% assist rate, and he can shoot the 3 ball. So we'll see what happens with this rotation here at 5,400. I think he's probably a little bit better suited for cash. So it's like a last man in. Dawson Baker at 4,800. I think he probably takes a big hit with Demon coming back, but he's still in the value pool just due to his scoring upside and kind of the uncertainty with the rotation. So if he starts, I'd pay attention to that. Maybe worth a look, but there's a lot. I would rather go to other spots because there is value that we're going to talk about in the tiers and even in this next game.
Yeah, if you're new to the show and you're like, oh, you only hit on 4 guys on the whole team. Well, look, that's the guys that we've been considering that would be in our player pools. If we're not talking about them, chances are we're not even we're not even hovering over their name at all. So that's sort of how we're breaking this down and how we approach most of these slates. We are going to give you one more game now in the showcase type of where we break everything down like we just did, and then we're going to get to our tiers: high tier plays, mid tier. I'm so excited about the tiers. I'm stumbling around talking about it. High, mid, and low tier plays here, and that's what Mike was saying. We got a lot of spend up options. We're going to get to in a little bit. We got a lot of low and mid tier options that will help you fill out your lineup. So stick around through this third showcase game breakdown. We're going to get to the tiers after that. And that's what our player pools are going to be. All right. So we're loving that you're here with us. Push all those buttons, like and subscribe. This is Big 12 openers for these teams, right? Like
Yeah,
they're start firing it up. It's the Big 12, Mike.
Play like 4 million games in conference now.
It's the Big 12, and just like that classic Big 12 matchup between Arizona State and BYU, here's another between Utah and Baylor.
There you go.
Classic Big 12 matchup here between the Utes and the Bears. No, 156 implied points here. Let's start with the Utes. 73 of those points implied to go Utah's way. 45th in tempo, which we really dig. Like, Baylor is going to be able to benefit from that, obviously, and we'll talk on that later. But, speaking of Baylor, Mike, I feel like some good teams have kind of put a hurting on them.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're susceptible to it. You can beat on them a little bit, and if you can make that happen, we're going to talk about Lawson Lovering in a minute, who I'm a big fan of right now. We'll see how that goes. Anyways, Utah's going to get the shooting boost and assist boost here on each side. So let's hit Lovering right now at 7,600. 1.22 fantasy points per minute. The problem is the matchup, right, against Omer. We're going to hit on Omer in a little bit. And his price bump is a little bit maybe just outside of that. I like Lovering, interesting in tournaments only. Let's go that way, okay?
Yeah.
Tournaments only for Lovering. I don't think you can mess with him in cash, but I like again, Baylor's going to pace down Utah. I understand that, but I like 156-point game environment. Like, I can get all over that. And if you're spent up and you found a way to get a bunch of value options, if you can get back to Lovering somehow, maybe you take a chance.
Yeah, no, I mean, 156 implied total. Like, there's going to be fantasy points going around. He's going to have to play 25 to 28 minutes. So if he's able to stay out of foul trouble and Omer doesn't, kind of run him off the floor by stretching him out to the three-point line, taking away some of those rebounding opportunities, Lawson Lovering could pay off. It's kind of the same way with everybody on the Utah side. Like, these are all guys where it's like, I should probably only use them in tournaments because I don't know if this is really going to work out in a cash game setting. And that goes for the Matsons. So you got Gabe Matson and Mason Matson playing together. They're both 6,200, so that's great. And they basically do the same thing. They shoot the ball from deep, and it goes in a lot of the time. So Gabe leads the team with a massive 31% shot rate. He also chips in a few assists, 15% assist rate. He's shooting 40% from three. He's going to play right around 30 minutes. Boom bust tournament option if the shots go down. Mason is not far behind in shot rate. He's 27.5%. He's shooting a ridiculous 47% from three as Mason Matson here. The Iowa game, if you saw it, he went off 43.5 fantasy points. It's boom or bust with these guys. Like, you're either going to get 18 fantasy points or you might get 35, 40. Flip a coin on it. Go with one of the Madsen guys. I'm a lot more interested in a little revenge narrative, Jay. Myra Little transferred from Baylor last year. It's 5,600. He's slumped over the last 3 games, but a pretty sneaky spot. He's still averaging over a fantasy point per minute. Over the last 2 games, he's only shot 1 for 14. He just needs to make a few shots, and he'll pay off this price tag. Like, we're shooting 1 for 14, but you're still putting up mid-teens fantasy points. If he hits 2 or 3 or 4 shots and stays on the floor for 28 to 30 minutes, which we've seen in the past, then you're going to start to see those 25s, those 26s, those 28s, those 30s.
Hey, and then you add a little trip down narrative street to that. That's worth at least 6.5 fantasy points. So there you go. I mean, we're talking 5.5x right there. Just
absolutely.
Because of that, it's possible.
I love him in tournaments. And then Mike Sheriff Jumps, who it feels like we've been talking about him for forever on different teams every year. He's 4,800. Another guy that produces a lot of fantasy points per minute, but the problem is he doesn't play very many minutes. So I think people will probably see his production over the last 2 games and the $800 savings that you get from Little. And maybe click his name. I don't know why you would do that on someone that's playing 15 minutes or so. Had a much larger role earlier in the season, so I'm more on the Mara Little play. And then also, why would I pay $4,800 for Sheriff Johnson when I can pay $3,800 for another revenge narrative for Caleb Lohner? Started his career there with Baylor. First 4 games of the season that he's played, been pretty good. He's averaging right around 20 minutes, producing over 4x per game. Here's the value. Here's one of the value pieces that we're talking about at 3,800. So Caleb Lohner in a revenge spot back at Baylor for both him and Little. maybe I'm going down narrative street a little bit too much, but I feel like their upside for their price tags are 4 to 5x, and I'll be using a lot of them.
You can wear those tracks down all you want up and down narrative street, man. I'm down for the ride. I'm in on that for sure. Let's get to Baylor and wrap up our showcase games here. 83 implied points, 73 for Utah, 83 for Baylor. I mentioned earlier, big time pace up, big team total, block party for Baylor, which obviously will benefit Omier, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Baylor is 23rd in bench minutes and got Jeremy Roach back last game. So, man, this is tough. I'm just going to go with Omier here, and I'm going to take the easy one. Okay, Mike, if you don't mind. Push the easy. That was easy. If Omier, you're going to be able to get to him. I'm just going to tell you that. You're going to be able to get to Omier on this slate as often as you want. You can. If you want to max him out, there's enough value on this slate where you can get to him every time you want. And I mentioned the shot blocking earlier. He's a walking double-double. If he starts racking up 35 minutes in conference play, Mike, like, what are we going to do here?
He's going to put up 50 because that's what he does.
Yeah, and I misspoke a little bit ago, Mike. Baylor's not 23rd in bench minutes. They're 213th. It changes things up a little bit. It changes that perspective up a little bit. Jeremy Roach coming back. He's going to get back on the floor, which definitely hurts Robert O'Wright. Way too expensive with Jeremy Roach back. You can't play him at 8,800. No. You can't even consider playing Robert O'Wright at 8,800. So please don't. I'm going to leave it at that. You can smash Omier into your lineups as often as you want. Do not do the same for Robert O'Wright.
Yeah, we were playing him at sub 4K like a month ago. And you're right. So 213 for Baylor's bench minutes, but excuse me. But when you look at it, Roach kind of hurts, right? Some of these guards, which is going to start trending their minutes back into the hundreds, the 190s, 180s with bench minutes here. For the fact that Baylor wants to play Robert O'Wright, and here we go with the coughing. Let me have you take over again here, Jay, for the next guy.
No, but VJ Edgecombe here again. You're talking about the guards on this side. Edgecombe, you can get him at 8,100 here. He's the freshman that we've talked about a ton. 7 of his 10 games he's played have resulted in 28 fantasy points or more. He's going to give you numbers across the board. If you don't want to get to Omier, Edgecombe is a great tourney option. I'm going to repeat this. You will be able to get to Omier whenever you want, but Edgecombe is a great tourney option. Jaden Nunn, 6K flat, no need to worry. My accountant handles that. Probably better suited on this slate for cash games. All of these guys are in a good spot with the pace and team total. And Nunn has 35 fantasy point upside if he's going to hit his shots. He's shooting over 50% from three. Is that sustainable? I don't think so. It's not. But he's going to shoot it, and he's going to hit it at a high clip. He's got to shoot it, though. He's got to hit his shots, Mike, and he's going to have to get some stocks or probably steals. Let's just say it. He's going to have to get some steals here to pay out in tournaments. So, like I said, better suited for cash. You good, Mike? You back with us?
Yeah, man, I'm back, man. Forklift. Yeah, he jinxed us there. But now, Roach, sitting here at 5,600, put 24 fantasy points in 24 minutes. I don't think I have as much interest in him outside of cash settings. Usually don't. Omier, Edgecombe, Nunn, all the guys you just talked about, they have higher tournament ceilings. Still, his 22% usage and 21% assist rate are in play. I would just rather use them in double ups at that price tag. And then Ojiwuna, at 5,400. Kind of a game stacking partner if you want. He's been decent. It's about $500 too expensive. Been pretty good in the last 4, but I'm probably going to pass here, man. I want to take a shot at some of this, some of this spend up, right? I'm really enamored with what Omier can do here if he gets 35 minutes, because we've seen what he's been able to do in the past, even at this price tag at 35 minutes. So yeah, man. Jeremy jumping in here. Yeah, I don't know what it is, man. It's just weird. It's just that time. It's the seasons, man. It's the seasons.
It's the most wonderful of the year. You guys know that. Thanks for hanging out with us. Jeremy, no harm, no foul. Snake's Eyes, I had to look up who Marlene Dietrich was. We're talking about 1920s German actresses. I have no idea what we're doing here. But we love you anyway, and we like that you're talking with us in the chat. I love it. We love random stuff like that. I sing randomly. I haven't done it yet tonight, probably because I feel like if I sang a little bit, wouldn't
There
sound
it
too
is.
great.
Here we go. The train derails right after the showcase.
No, we're good. Hey, that's the showcase games, and we got about 12 or 13 minutes before we got to be out of here, which is plenty of time to hit our world famous tiers. That's right. Call your mama, call your baby daddy, whatever you got to do. Let them know that the tiers are back. And these are the players in our player pool for the 7 remaining games on this slate that we have not covered yet. We're going to start with the high tier, as you see right out there on your screen, 7,500 and above. Starting with Hunter Dickinson, 9,500. Why? Why is he that cheap, Mike? I don't understand.
I don't know.
He's just too cheap. Use him in cash games, tournaments. Use him in your backyard later on. Use him to grill your hot dogs. Use him to help you take your Christmas lights down. Just use him. Okay, he's going to be a staple of my tournament builds, Mike. I'll just leave it at that. He's too cheap. I'm going to build my lineups around him a lot.
Oh man, so you take Hunter Dickinson here.
Yeah.
I'll go a little bit off the board here. I think Trayvon Spillers is kind of interesting. You're sitting here at 7,800. They're at Wake Forest is at Syracuse. Syracuse has a hard time controlling bigs. I know he doesn't play the 5, which is where you want to attack Lampkin, like we always do. But plays the 4 and he bodies up. He can shoot threes. He's a really good defensive player. Like he has 30 to 35 plus upside. I know it's been a weird year for Wake, but he's more of a contrarian option on the lower part of the high tier for me. So a lot of good spend up options. I feel like he's just kind of in that no man's land, like Lovering, right? Like these are guys that can produce. Maybe one of these guys has a ceiling game. Somewhere super contrarian, right? Obviously, but I mean, we know the other guys that are out there. Jay Cooper Flagg's out there. You playing him?
Yeah. So not only did I lead up with Dickinson, but you knew I was going to go Flagg too. 10K flat, which is about the same amount of points as Duke is favored by in this one against Virginia Tech. But he's still probably going to play 28 minutes regardless. The Hokies don't have anybody that could stop him anyway. Flagg's always a great tournament play because he can just fill it up every part of the box score. You know he can. But I'm not playing any Blue Devils in cash games, Mike.
Yeah. I mean,
0.
Virginia Tech is – I think they're projected on KenPom for like 50, 54. So that thing's going to get ugly pretty quickly. Cam Jones, my man, 10,600. The price king on the slate. Probably running second behind Janai Broom for Player of the Year. He's going to play 36-plus minutes in a conference game. That's 50 fantasy point upside. He's gone for 37.5, 43.25 in the 2 Big East games that they played against Xavier and Butler. Like, you have the value to play him. Spin the wheel on your spend up. We've mentioned probably already 10 guys that are 8K or above that we think are fantastic plays. So, man, what do you think about the mid-tier here?
I love the mid-tier. Bellyball saying he loves the tiers. Yeah. We appreciate that feedback. Let us know what y'all think about this, breaking down a few games and then hopping into tiers. We could do this more often. We can sort of peel it back like we used to, or mix it up anyway. It's how we do it around here. But thanks for the feedback, Bellyball. Always love to see you in there. Let's get to the mid-tier. Not so much for tournaments, but maybe for cash. I'll go Eddie Lampkin. You mentioned him earlier, 5,700 for Syracuse. With Starling out, we've seen Lampkin sort of shoulder a lot of the offense there. 4 straight games with 25 or more fantasy points. Matchup's just okay, though. I think you got to consider him. And, again, you're going to be able to find 5,700 is very reasonable on this slate. You'll be able to find even better value later on. But cash games for Lampkin, Mike.
Yeah, I'm with you on the Lampkin. And who's opposed to him on the other side is who I kind of talked about, Spillers, right? You want to attack Lampkin, Efton Reed there, 5,500. Like, he hasn't been great this year, but we know in the past he can smash this price tag, especially if Lampkin is, plotting around there. So he's got to stay out of foul trouble. That's going to be an issue with Lampkin because he's so aggressive on the offensive end. So tournament option only, I think Efton Reed at 5,500 is kind of interesting in large field settings. Dylan Adai-Wusu, feels like we've been talking about him for forever because St. John's pace under Mike Anderson for the last, obviously we've been doing the show for 3-4 years now. But he's 5,500. He's at Xavier. It's a pace-up shot. Everything with Seton Hall is a pace-up because they play so slow. But What you really like, though, is with Seton Hall, you can't figure out who's going to be on the court. Well, Adai Wusu is going to be on the court. 4 straight games in over 30 minutes here, shooting the ball a ton. I like him in cash more than in tournaments, but man, it doesn't feel great to click, but you like that he shot, he's shooting 10 to 12 shots, and he's got peripheral upside for assists, steals, can even block some shots for you. So, yeah, I don't mind him for cash games.
Another cash guy is probably Lance Terry, right? 6,400, shot dependent, and that's what sort of slots him into that cash game target in the mid-tier. McCollum's questionable for Georgia Tech, but regardless, sort of feels like Lance Terry has cemented his role in that rotation. Look aside from the beatdown that Duke gave him last week, and Terry has 27 or more fantasy points in 6 of their last 8. So I like that more for cash than tournaments, Mike.
Yeah, and then I'll slide down here. You could save, what was that, $703, carry the 5, $700, and get Chase Ross there. He's 5,700.
Shoot.
Might be the highest owned player on the slate. He had foul trouble last game. His price is way too cheap. He's a 7K player. Great play in cash or tourneys. I don't really care. I'm going to play him. He should play 32 to 36 minutes. The stock upside's crazy. He's taking a good amount of shots. So, yeah, Chase Ross, solid play here. Old Knipple, 6,600. Another one of those Duke guys that you're talking about, kind of like Cooper Flagg. These guys are going to produce. How long are they going to be on the floor for? And which guy produces is kind of the question with Duke. I always play in tourneys just in case he gets red hot and hits like 5 threes. I mean, look what he just did against Georgia Tech. And he played 32 minutes, and that was a 26-point blowout. So he's put up 36.5. So Colin is always going to be in my tournament player pool for sure.
Yeah, and if you don't go Cooper Flagg and you don't take anybody else up from that Duke side, like, what a great spot to just throw him into a lineup, 66. Yeah. Like, this is what I mean. The mid-tier is so interesting in this one. Chase Ross, Knuppel, Adai Wusu, so much value there in the mid-tier. And let's get to the low tier, but not before shouting out one of our OGs in the chat, Mama Rocks.
Oh, my goodness.
It's been a while.
Mama Rocks left us.
It's been a while. Mama Rocks out there on the farm feeding the squirrels and the cows and doing their thing out there. We always appreciate Mama Rocks, one of the OGs, been here for a solid minute hanging out with the One and Done crew. Thanks, Mama Rocks, for hopping in with us live. Wrapping us up here is the low tier. We talked about all the value that's on this slate, and we're going to give you a few more names here. I'm actually going to do a pull old core 4 thing here, and I'm going to give you a more. I'm going to take 2 players here on my one, and it's both. They're both for Syracuse though, so it's kind of like, okay, it's Lucas Taylor or Kyle Cuff. 3,800 for Taylor, 3,500 for Cuff. Both played 24 minutes last game. We're going to pay attention to make sure that Starling is out before clicking that button right there. But I think Cuff is probably a little bit more interesting because of that shot rate that he has for such a cheap price tag. But either one of these guys, Mike, I think we could consider them a good value play if Starling is out.
Yeah, no, I don't mind it. Look at kind of what Cuff did last game. Took 9 shots. 6 from 3. Like, what do you always say, Jay? When 1 3-pointer is 1x at 3,500. So hits a couple of threes, and you're already halfway there. More than, on the way to more than halfway there. So Rylan Griffin here. I just think this is an interesting spot for Rylan. He's 4,100, playing West Virginia. They're going to be able to name their score here. Kansas is finally inserted in the starting lineup 2 games ago. We've been waiting on this. He's just too damn cheap. I don't care about the 15 minutes that he played in the last game. That was a 34-point blowout against Brown. He got 31 minutes in a tighter game in his first start against NC State. If Rylan Griffin, he shot 0 for 4 from 3. So if Rylan Griffin is going to be shooting up 4, 5, 6 3-pointers at 4,100, he's going to play 30 minutes. We know he has some rebounding upside. Yes, for tournaments, please. I don't mind some Rylan Griffin. And then we'll pay attention to injury news. We'll go to Texas Tech. We got Yalaho here at 3,700. Playing UCF. Look, Toppin needs to be out. Federico needs to be out. They're both questionable. They both missed the last game. Look what he did. He played 24 minutes. They don't really have any other bigs outside of him. Obviously, that was a smash spot there, but 23.5 fantasy points. You're probably not expecting that against UCF, but he's going to probably have to play 30 minutes out there. Both of those guys are out. So I think he's a good play. Both of those guys are out. And the last one here before we get to the core is Jenkins from Seton Hall, which I don't like ending the tier section with this play, but here we are. Seton Hall 32nd in bench minutes. Like, he's been all over the place with his minutes. They need his offense, which is why he played 31 minutes against Georgetown, even though he shot 3 for 14 and 1 for 7 from 3. Like, he has tournament upside to go for 25, 30 fantasy points. At this price tag at 4,500, it feels absolutely ugly to click it. For 1,000 more, it's much safer to play, Daw there. But Jenkins at 4,500, he's interesting. He's going to play 30 minutes to take a ton of shots. So we'll see. He'll probably make a lineup or two of mine.
Yeah, most likely, no doubt about it. Hey, good stuff there. There's the high, mid, and low tiers. We hope you enjoyed the reboot of the tiers there. Let us know what you think about the showcase with the tiers format. Hop in the comments in the live chat and let us know what you think. Hit those like and subscribe buttons. Let's move on to the core 4 and more. Core 4 for cash and tournaments. I'm going to give you the cash core 4 here. I'm going to start rolling here, and then we'll get it pulled up in a second. Jason Green, 4,200 for Creighton, played 35 minutes in the start the last time out. Somebody that's going to be on the floor that much at this price, love him for cash games. Dylan Adai-Wusu, Mike, you mentioned him earlier, 5,500 for Seton Hall. Really the only thing you can count on with that team. He's taking a ton of shots and playing 30 or more minutes in a pace-up spot. So I like Adai-Wusu in my cash core. Eddie Lampkin. Yes, that Eddie Lampkin. The offense is just flowing through him right now for Syracuse. It is what it is. He's a lock for 20-plus fantasy points. In a cash game, I can dig that at 5,700. And then we can spend up in a cash game, right? Cam Jones, 10.6K. Put him in your cash game because somebody's going to, and he's going to go off. Even with that one, you still get over 6K per player remaining with a 10.6K Cam Jones in your core 4. Not too shabby, Mike.
Yeah, outside the green, there's a lot of value options that you can go there, Jay, to get you a couple of studs. 2 value options, honestly, that you could slot into those 2 spots and then spin way up on those other 2 spots to go get you a couple of more studs. So, yeah, you can play 3 studs on this slate. We'll swap it over here to the old tournament setting. So I wasn't as I guess I'm a little kind here with some of my picks here, but you mentioned Jason Green for cash. We talked about it off the top of the show. Jackson McAndrew, he's 4,400 at forward for Creighton. I love him for tournaments because eventually they're going to have to play this guy 30 to 35 minutes. Like, it just doesn't make any sense not to. The way he produces fantasy-wise per minute is awesome for tournament settings. He just needs the minutes to get there. So Jackson McAndrew there for Creighton. Chase Ross, cash or tournament. You just play Chase Ross. So 5,700 is absolutely too cheap. Dimon, who you mentioned, he's 7K coming back from injury. I expect him to play 30 minutes, and we know what kind of production he can put up with that. I think he's an awesome tournament play. And then Hunter Dickinson, 9,500. He's too cheap. Janai Broom was 9,400 today. Too cheap. I don't want to say lock because there are way more spin-up options. There was only 2 spin-up options tonight. There are 10 to 12. So you don't completely lock them into tournaments, but a heavy pillar. If I'm playing 20 lineups, I'm probably going to have Hunter Dickinson in at least half, if not more. So at least 5.8 there. But yeah, man, so many options to spend up. It's absolutely incredible. I'm going to have a hard time going away from 3 value plays, a Chase Ross, 3 spend ups, and then another mid-tier guy like a Myra Little, because it's just so easy to get to. It's absolutely just so easy to get to.
I'm gonna try to find a way to get to 4 of these big guys. I'm gonna
try, you can get to it. You can.
I feel like you can. I'm gonna get creative. We hope you do too. With Mama Rocks hopping in at the end here, loving the McAndrew call. He's too good. And again, let's hit those minutes out there. Okay, let's get it out there for McAndrew for sure at 4,400. Hey, what a show! A little early, man. Getting out of here early tonight. It's 8:30 Central Time, and we're done with one and done.
Caleb Love has 46 fantasy points with 8 minutes to go, and it's Arizona kid.
I'm not getting on my Caleb Love rant right now. We got to get out of here, but I first want to thank El Capitan himself, the captain of the Green Screens Media ship, for hanging out with me tonight here. It's Mike Holland, the OG Money Mike, at MC Holland 34 on Twitter. Don't forget about our guy at Fantasy Nav in those Twitter streets, our guy Eric the Blue, pushing the buttons, making all the things happen behind the scenes, along with our guy at The Real Napier, who's at some concert with somebody that he was very vague about and won't talk to us about, but that's okay. We love him anyway, mostly because we feel sorry for him because he's a 49ers fan. But we love you, Nate, and we love everybody that hung out with us in the live chat tonight. Mama Rocks, Forklift Jeremy, Snake's Eyes, Belly Ball, Corey, the single entry king, my guy, Playmaker 23, everybody that hopped in with us tonight. We appreciate you. Everybody that will hop in to the comment section who watches later on, we appreciate you too. Yeah, Mama Rocks will hit the rewind. If you hopped in late, go back to the channel later on. If you want to wake up,
it's early.
Yeah, if you want to wake up in the morning and you know, watch One and Done with your coffee and your Cheerios or whatever, do that too. You know, put us up on the, I mean, you probably got a projector that you would want to put us on up on your wall. You know, that's fine. I would understand it. Put us on the side of your house. Invite all your neighbors around because they want to get this bread. I wouldn't blame you.
Let's get some New Year's bread dropped off at the crib.
Let's get some bread dropped off. I'm the conductor of this thing. At Dr. William Cannon on Twitter. Take care of yourself. Tell somebody you love them. We appreciate you. Let's get this bread. I am the JAYHEINRICH. Wait, there it is. Heinrich right there. Come again. Peace.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.